Good morning, everybody. Is everybody in here needing Nutrilite? I can go home now. No. Hey, what a thrill it is to be here and at this Achievers Convention. I don't get to speak as much as I'd like to North American ABOs these days, but this is really exciting for me to be back here and be talking to you because, you know, Nutrilite is the birthplace, and the birthplace is the United States. And so it's fun to be talking about what's happened here and what has happened around the world because of you guys and the efforts you've made. So it's an honor to be here. I wish Francesca was with me, my wife. Normally we're on the midst right now, I think many of you know, of a worldwide tour. This is the 20th stop around the world. We've got about 20 more countries to hit. And generally, she's with me on this, and she makes a presentation and does a thing on Nutrilite, on what Nutrilite means to her. But the other night, our granddaughter, Emily, who's 15, got all the way to the state semifinals in girls volleyball in California. And for those of you who know much about volleyball, that's a big deal. They won their league. They beat everybody in Southern California. They got into the state semifinals. And Francesca says, one of us has got to go. And I said, well, I got to go to Vegas. You go. And so she said to be sure and give you her deepest respects. And unfortunately, Emily's team didn't win. So she'll be back again. She's only 15 and a sophomore. And they've got a team that's just amazing. And what I love to have you know is, man, she is Miss Double X. She eats her Double X. She knows more about Double X, and she puts it out. Nobody has to bug her. And she knows the importance of that for her to become the great athlete that she wants to become. And she's going to be a great one. And I can guarantee you'll be seeing more from her in future years. She's already bugging me about wanting to do. She's one of these gifted athletes. She's pretty smart, too, so hopefully she gets into Stanford, we're hoping. But at any rate, but she's good at a lot of sports. But she also pole vaults and was qualified for the Junior Olympics in swimming and the state meets in running and stuff. So she's the human Double X machine at this age of her life. And she's already bugging me. She wants me to invite her and one of her girlfriends, she's only 15, and send her to Scandinavia. Now, why would the hell you want to go to Scandinavia? Well, she's been reading all the Nutrilite stuff, and she's found out that up there they play something called snow volleyball. Well, she's really good beach volleyball player. And she says, well, with my skill in beach volleyball, we ought to do really well there. So I've talked to the guys up in Scandinavia. Boy, we'd love to have her up there. Can you imagine a Renborg playing up in Scandinavia in a snow volleyball tournament? Well, those are the exciting things of family. And I got the rest of the kids are doing great too. My son and his wife, some of you know Rod, and they got 3 kids. They live in Hong Kong. And the big exciting news for us is they're moving back to the States. And we're really excited about that. My son and his wife have worked many roles at Nutrilite and very eager to get back to the States. So you'll be hearing more about them in the future as well. They got 3 kids, and they're all learning how to speak Mandarin. So, in fact, that sort of prompted their return to the States because his youngest son, 7, had a dream it's been a couple months ago, a dream. And my son was walking down the hallway, and he listened at the door and realized that his 7-year-old son was having a nightmare and counting in Mandarin. And he called me the next day. He said, Dad, maybe it's time to come home. Anyway, they're coming home, but he has enormous interest in all the stuff in the world. It'll be fun to have them all together again. Francesca, normally when she comes, and she gives a speech on Nutrilite, but she also sits in the front row like Claire is down here. And when you get old like me, and Gordon and some of the other old geezers that are still in Nutrilite, you know, as we get older, we tend to talk more. And I'm guilty of that, too. So Francesca is my coach, and so she's developed a bunch of signals. And one of them is, that means kind of pick up the pace, you know. Another one, which she'd probably be doing now, would be get to the point. And the last one is the dreaded signal you do not want to see from stage. And she'd be on the button down here, but, you know, she'd be after me. So I'm sorry she's not here, so Claire and a couple of them are going to try to fill in for me. But at any rate, this anniversary trip is really exciting because there's several aspects that are important to me. One is to get out in the world and to thank the people who have driven us to #1 in the world. And that's you guys and all your inspiration that you've given to people all over the world. So all our employees know and that the most important people in the world of Nutrilite are you folks, because you're the guys that are sharing the products with others. So that's the most important thing I can really do, is to go out as a brand champion, as a brand ambassador, and thank all those ABOs out there and the staffs who run them and work with all the people out there to make this business model, these products so successful around the world. So that's my biggest goal out there. At the same time, the second, it's a big one too, man, the whole world is waking up to what we're doing. That's really what I'm here today, is kind of talk about the future and what's going on in the future, because the opportunity that my dad, foresaw 80 plus years ago is really coming true today. And the potential for our business, the potential for our business model, our products is everything's right there right now. And it behooves us all to really get after it. So that's what I really want to focus on. I want to focus a little bit on the past, because I find a lot of times when I talk to people, they don't have a very good understanding of the past. They sort of know a little bit about the early days. But if you don't have a good idea of where you came from, right, how can you have a vision of where you want to go? So it's important to think about that. And I've written a book. If many of you have read the Nutrilite story, I always want to point out we have a new version out, 2nd edition, which is an iBook format, which means you can plug it right into your iPad. It costs $10. All that money doesn't go to me. It goes to disadvantaged children. That's the goal of it. And the goal is to get one of those things into everybody's hands, because it has an in-depth history of Nutrilite. And that's important to know that. But to know where the foundations of this company, where they are, the foundations of our product line, and our vision of where we're going in the future, where we are today, and all that's spelled out in the book. And the new book is better than the old one, obviously, because it's got 5 new chapters. There's a lot of stuff that's happened in the last 5 years. And in addition, in the back, there's an appendix which has comments from all of our Founders Council members on what their vision of Nutrilite is and what Nutrilite means to them around the world. Just a powerful tool. So the iPad, I know a lot of people prefer to have a book in their hands, and I'm that way too. But an iPad is a pretty neat way to do it too, because it's a reference you can just take right with you, show it to other people. And so get a hold of that Nutrilite story. And I guess if I were to have books on my bedstand that I would recommend to everybody, I would certainly have that. I would have Rich's book on Simply Rich, and I would have the new guide that you guys have I hope you got it right there. If you don't have this, man, get a hold of this. Is the finest thing that's come out, I think, on Nutrilite that I've ever seen. It's a complete guide on what you need to know to share this product with others. So if everybody read that 10 times, you'd be on your way. There you go. But really, have a look at that. It's got really deep thought has been put into that. It's really a valuable tool, so use it. So back to the history, and I want to just focus on, I don't have time to give you the in-depth history, but I'd like to focus on just a few of the key things I think that make us so unique, and which I would want you to know. First of all, we're celebrating what? Our 80th anniversary. My father sold his first unit of Nutrilite on September 17th, right? So we think 80th anniversary. It really isn't our 80th anniversary. The idea behind Nutrilite goes back almost 100 years. My dad got off that boat in China in 1915. That's almost 100 years ago. And it was right then that he began to get immersed into wanting to do something to make the planet better. The sickness and disease in Shanghai, we talk all about this in the book, and he got very immersed into wanting to do something about that, and studying traditional Chinese medicine, and maybe being one of the first Westerners to understand that there was some good science behind traditional Chinese medicine, and wanting to apply some of those concepts to making the world a better place that he was in. And that led him to his study of plant-based diet and the importance of a plant-based diet, and to his waking up one morning. If you read the history, you'll find out that back in 1915, most scientists and medical people of the West thought that diseases were caused by germs and poisons in the food that people were eating. And they were trying to identify what the heck these were so they could develop the antidotes to this. My dad woke up one morning. It was a huge idea. It was the idea that really changed his whole life. He woke up, he said, hey, maybe it isn't what was in the food and water that was causing these problems, but something missing. Pretty simple idea, right? And that was the idea that was to drive him as he began then his study of traditional Chinese medicine, the study of a plant-based diet, his experiments with plants, and he began to realize that there must be hundreds, maybe thousands of important factors in plants that were important in human nutrition and helping. The Chinese had kind of captured some of these and some of their interesting ingredients that they were giving to people to help prevent disease and cure disease. But he was always looking for ways to prevent the problems from happening in the first place. And that's also, he got that understanding of the holistic approach to health from his study of traditional Chinese medicine. This was back in the day, and even in this country today, we still tend to be pretty much, there's a scientific word for it, but it's called reductionist thinkers. We tend to think everything's due to one little thing, and vitamin C is just good for this, and vitamin B is good for that. It ain't that way, folks. It's all hooked together. It's all linked. And that led to him then to his idea of a food supplement based on all the things that he thought were important, all the vitamins and minerals and trace elements and these associated food factors. That's what he called these things in plants. Later that changed to phytonutrients, and now we've got phytonutrient reports. You've got all this stuff that you're studying in your manuals now, and you're going to hear from Don and Micheline a little bit later. But that whole field has just exploded in knowledge around the world. So everybody's beginning to understand the importance of all this. And so that was what led him to finding this product, when he came back to the States in 1927. 7 more years he worked in a laboratory on Balboa Island to develop his product. And finally in 1934 he introduced it. September 17th is the closest place that we can figure. It was the first time he sold it, because he went out at first, he used to give it to people. Do you ever give Nutrilite to people? Yeah. He used to give it to people. And he'd go back and he'd find usually that he was a nice guy, pretty friendly, so they'd accept the product. But when he'd go back, he'd find it unused and forgotten. And he said he woke up one morning again, another great idea. Wasn't too great. But he says, I'm not going to give away another unit of Nutrilite again. I'm going to put my value on it. I'm going to put a little profit on it. If I sell it, then I can grow my business. And he went out again. Much tougher sale, but he gradually began to build up a little route of customers. Business began to grow. So those were the very early days of Nutrilite. I was born in 1936. I was his first laboratory animal. My major claim to fame, even to this day, is I've been eating the product longer than anybody else living. I figured out the other day while I was coming over, 79 years and about 6 months, because I'm only 78, but I'll be 79 in February. But my mother was eating the product, so I was getting it as a fetus. So there you go. So a long time with the product. So I had the joy of kind of growing up with all this and watching my dad's struggles and washing out the bottles and going with him on deliveries to customers. And I knew his first distributor, who was a customer of his, named Alma Stewart, and she kept pestering to sell the product. And he was always thinking he was going to find this magical way to enter the consumer market, and everybody was going to rush to his doorstep to buy the product. And as he got into that, he realized nobody knew what he was talking about. And he found the only way he could sell the product really was talk to people one-on-one about his experiences in China, what his concept of holistic health was about, what those mysterious associated food factors were all about, how it could help them to better health and nutrition. So it was a long, hard sell because it was just tough. But he found that the people who used the product benefited from it. And pretty soon they wanted others to have it. So my father always had people to contact from referrals. So he knew that was business. But he kept thinking, how was he going to expand it more rapidly? And this Alma Stewart was one of his early customers. And she kept bugging him. And one day he had a product, he sent a whole shipload of product up to San Francisco. It all came back because he had thought he'd found this new way to sell it. And he was pretty in the dumps. And she caught him at the right time. And he said, I'll tell you what, Alma, I've been spending about 35% of my time talking to customers, potential customers. I'll give you a 35% discount. You can mark it up and see what you do. And he thought he got rid of her. And it turned out he had another great breakthrough of his. He said, he found out the best way to sell the product was to have people who are using the product sell it. And she was a much better salesperson than my father. People were very suspicious of my father, the crazy scientist living in his laboratory, making these things that we weren't sure what he was making. But Alma Stewart, man, she used it, changed her life. People listened to her. She had more customers than he did. So he knew he was onto something very important. And it's so important that we are just learning that awareness of that concept today in modern marketing, when they're finding out, hey, best way to sell a product is to have people who are using the product recommend it or sell it themselves. And now they call that, you know what they call that today in the marketing? Social marketing. They used to call all kinds of different things earlier, but now it's social marketing. I love it, but that's the essence of it. So now he began to convert his customers and distributors, and now that whole thing went on. And then he teamed up with a couple guys who were trying to expand it. And they had the idea that somehow he had to clone himself so the Alma Stewarts could be like he and go out and find new Alma Stewarts. And they set up this little bonus schedule. Very simple little thing. And off they went again, and suddenly that thing skyrocketed. And that was the beginning of multi-level selling. Pretty much similar to what you guys do today. And the thing just raced ahead into the future. And pretty soon, everything was breaking loose, and we were growing like maniacs. And the business was soaring. And about this time, my father met a couple of young fellas from Michigan who had signed up at Nutrilite at the request of one of their grandmothers who had said she had heard about this Nutrilite opportunity. That was Jay and Rich. Now, I say this because two things. One, my father was the product guy. He had a product that he was trying to sell. These two guys come out of the service, and they were looking for a business opportunity. You all know the story, and they tried all kinds of different things. They were looking for a business opportunity that had a product that they could get really excited about. And they bumped into Nutrilite through Jay's grandmother. So that's how they got into the Nutrilite thing. And very quickly, they became two of my father's biggest distributors because they had the genius to see that this method of selling that kind of he had stumbled into along the way to sell his product might be a powerful business model. Very powerful business model. And they became two of my father's biggest distributors. And everything was rolling along pretty hunky-dory. And then the government got after us because the government didn't like us. The FDA didn't like us. Nobody liked us in the government because, first of all, the American diet was perfect. Nobody needed supplements. You ate 3 squares, that's all you needed. So they did not like Nutrilite. They didn't like the method of selling either very well. So everything was coming down on Nutrilite. It was a very difficult period of time. And we fought cases in the Supreme Court, all spelled out in the book. I'm not going to rattle through that. But out of that, all of that came, finally, we got through that mess. But our volume, we were planning to go towards 100 million. Now it was gotten down about this level. And it was a very, very difficult time period. And during that time period, it looked like we might go extinct. And Jay and Rich said, hey, this is a tremendous business model. Maybe we can sell something simpler than Nutrilite, maybe a household product or two to keep our business afloat in case Nutrilite goes under. We'll take the best parts of this Nutrilite pan. It's pretty good. They do some funny little things that don't make sense, but we're going to make it even better. And they started Amway. The rest of that, you know that history. So, fast forwarding, we fought our way through the government. We finally solved those problems, and we kind of got back to it. I joined the company in 1963 after my dad always said, hey, go as far as you can at university, get that science behind you. That's the best thing you can do if you want to help move this business forward in the future. So I joined the company in 63, and we were kind of floating along, not doing so well. And we said, let's take these two guys my father has, guys called Miner and Castleberry. They didn't know what to do. Let's buy them out. Let's get back to basics. And so we bought out the Miner and Castleberry, moved everything back to Buena Park, and I think our volume was about 20 million at the time. And I joined. What an exciting time! I went out and recruited a couple guys of mine went to school with, and we said, hey, this is a heck of a business opportunity, but we got to get back to basics. We began beating the woods and going out. I used to spend a couple of weeks a month at the various Holiday Inns around the United States, putting on meetings and talking about Nutrilite. The business slowly began to grow. And interestingly, we kind of survived a lot of that period, this is a part of the history you probably don't know, because Jay and Rich continued to have their own little group of Nutrilite distributors called the J. Reed Group. And it was a sizable group of distributors, and a sizable amount of income was coming to Nutrilite. And back in those early days when I was running the company, I signed all the checks. And we used to have to write checks to Jay and Rich for a bonus. Used to drive me a little nuts sometimes to have sent it. Anyway, we did. But we at the same time, they were helping us get through this difficult period. And make a long story short, 1969, things began to start to pick up in the field of nutrition and fitness. And they had the famous White House Conference on Nutrition in 1969. And American public were told American diet wasn't so good after all. Matter of fact, it was pretty bad. Matter of fact, it was at the cause of most of the chronic diseases that were dangerously on the uprise in almost every category. This is often considered to be the beginning of the health and fitness movement in the United States. I think the total sales volume of supplements in those days was about $200 million, all in the United States. I mean, all markets. So it was pretty much of a fledgling, new area. That was the beginning of that movement that has since, spread around the world. And our business began to soar again, got pretty exciting. And we began to think about going overseas, and our financial thing wasn't as strong. I studied the Amway marketing plan upside down. I realized they were better than we were in a lot of ways. And about that time, Amway had a problem. Because now the Amway distributors, who weren't part of the original J. Reed group, knew about Nutrilite, knew about this movement in health and fitness, and said, Jay and Rich, we got to get a product like Nutrilite. What are you going to do? And said they thought about how to do all this. Very difficult. And they finally came to us and said, hey, do you want to join with us? We've always loved Nutrilite, been using Nutrilite all these years. Why don't you join with us, and we'll take Nutrilite around the world? That's a big decision on my part as a young buck, as I was at that time. But I looked through that whole thing, and I said, what's my goal? My goal is to get Nutrilite around the world. Best way to do that? Look to me like Amway. And so in June of 1962, June of 72, they acquired 51% interest in Nutrilite. And in January of 1973, all Amway distributors had a line of Nutrilite. They were excited. All the Nutrilite distributors became Amway distributors. Most of them were excited. Most of them were really pretty excited. And it never would have worked had not the ethics of Jay and Richmond and Rob from the very beginning to make sure there was no cross-sponsoring. Everything just slid in together. The challenges were we had some big fish in Nutrilite. Now there were little fish in the big pond. All those kind of things that you deal with when you get into big companies. But by golly, we got through that pretty darn quickly. Our volume just skyrocketed naturally. We started, I think it was fourfold up that first year. I think in those days we represented about 6% of Amway's volume was Nutrilite. And very quickly, that grew and grew and grew. And the rest of that story, I think, is history. You know what's happened since then. True to their word, 1974, we launched Nutrilite in Canada. And then from then on, it's just been Canada. Yay for Canada. And out around the world we went. So here we are today with this monster thing. And Amway has just really recognized this tremendous asset that they have, and they've put a lot of dollars and effort, and we are in a massive expansion program right now in terms of the three areas that make us unique. That's our nature story, our farm story, our science story, our R&D story, our facilities that make all these things. So right now, I said, if you've been following all the stuff that's going on, we are in a massive expansion program right now in every aspect of our business, starting with the Nutrilite, the farming areas. We've come a long way since that first farm of his. Now we have over 6,400 acres under cultivation around the world. Our Brazil farm is our largest farm, over 4,000 acres. And I think there's some slides that are being shown quickly of our area here as I speed along. The second big farm, of course, we have is our Trout Lake farm. We have two farming areas out there now, the East and West farm. And the whole Pacific Northwest is expanding really rapidly. And we've moved all of our farming operations in California from Lakeview up closer to the big farms up in the state of Washington. We've built new facilities up there, new laboratories, and it's a place you're going to all want to put on your bucket list to see. Probably one of the most magnificent farming areas in all of the United States, and we're right in the middle of that thing. We're ready to go with all these things. So it's really an exciting place to visit, so put that on your bucket list. At the same time, I don't know where we are in the slides and stuff like that, but there's a lot of slides going on. And then the final place, of course, is in Mexico. We're from Mexico, and we have a big farm down there, 1,400 acres, and it's just one of the glorious places. And a lot I can show you, but I want to show you just a 3-minute quick video of the Mexico facility.
My passion is to see things blooming, you know. It's not only alfalfa or spinach or broccoli. I like to see the people blooming and growing and developing. And this is something that has been very satisfactory here. I really couldn't tell why I'm so attached to this job. There is a very strong connection between the soil, the people that was born there, the people that love the farm. And when you put all that together and you do it organic, then you know that what you are doing now, it reflects on the whole world to our supplements. We are part of a bigger picture, and I like what I see in the bigger picture. Nutrilite with all these ingredients, working as a big family that takes care of everybody. Yeah. We are looking all the time how to preserve freedom, family, hope, and reward. And you really see the people in need of those values. They are just waiting for an opportunity to bloom. That is what the company is helping me to do in this remote location.
I love that. A few years back, we had the former president of Mexico, President Zedillo, visit us. He's a Yale-trained guy in economics, but he was a big believer in organic agriculture, too. He wanted to see what we were doing. He flew down in his big helicopters, spent the day with us. At the end of the day, he said, "Sam, this is the best day I've spent in a long time." He said, "This is an amazing place down here. You should be very proud of it." He says, "You know, it's a win-win situation for all parties, isn't it?" I said, "What do you mean, Mr. President?" He said, "Well, first of all, it's a win for the land. You've taken this, what was a barren piece of land. I used to come here as a kid where they'd write poetry and stuff." He says, "You brought the water to the surface. The land has come alive. The land is getting stronger and stronger. Your concepts of, you know, sustainable agriculture are being employed, so the land's getting better and better and stronger every day. The land's a winner." He says, "Two, the people are a winner. The people that work here, they love working here. I've been talking to all your people today. They love this place. They love working on here. It's safe, no chemicals, no insecticides. Their kids are thriving. You've got schools and a clinic down here. They're going on to colleges." He says, "The people are a winner." And he finally said, he looked at me and he says, "You know, and it's a winner for you." He had a twinkle in his eye. He said, "It's a winner for you too, isn't it, Sam?" And I said, "Yeah, it is." And he said, "Let me tell you, it is." He said, "Number one," he says, "you got the best land in Mexico now, fertile and growing properly. You got my best people working, and they're healthy and strong and vibrant. And out of that, you're getting the best plants that can be grown in the whole country of Mexico. And you're making out of those the finest plant concentrates I understand." And I understand, he says, they go into a line of food supplements that are the finest supplements in the world. Is that right, Sam? And I said, "Yes, Mr. President, you're spot on." Very exciting. And I just love that story. So that was my Mexico story. So that's the farms. At the same time, we're expanding, you know, rapidly in the expansion plans that we're doing. I should say we have NutriCert farms as well, and that's still another thing that's happening is our NutriCert farms. This has evolved from not just farming stuff for us, but we're now beginning to change the agricultural practices of people around the world. And that's led us to a whole concept of what we call NutriCert farming. We'll go in and if we find an exotic phytonutrient way out from China someplace, I think we got a picture of that, and they've got this wonderful herb that's growing that improves the memory of people, and they can't grow that in the States. Let's grow it there, and if we certify them, they grow according to our standards, and it's all organic, we'll certify them and get that product. So now we've got some 30 or 40 farms around the world that are doing some special things for us. I think we got a shot of a special farm in India that's doing pomegranate, just fabulous. Anyway, lots of exciting things going on in that arena. But what's exciting to me, and I know my dad would be so pleased about this, he said, because you're beginning to change the farming practices of people around the world. And that's huge. So we're really making a big difference in that area. So you should be proud of that. And I hope you put on your bucket list to visit as many of the farms as you can. Do it. Important. Manufacturing operation expansion. I think you're pretty much familiar with all the things that are going on in the United States. We've got 4 facilities, new ones in the United States. 2 in California. You got to see the new Center for Optimal Health, the new manufacturing facilities in Buena Park, the new laboratories in Buena Park. We've had a big open house there. Come visit us. We get a lot of local people, but we like more from distant places to come visit and see what we're doing. We've got new facilities up in the state of Washington where we're getting closer to the plant materials so we can do the concentration extraction right near the fields, make those concentrates so they're fresh and ready to go. It's a very exciting thing to see. We've got manufacturing facilities underway in India, huge one in India. We've got I forgot one more, I forgot the 2 in, we got 2 in Ada, almost forgot. New protein facility in Ada, of course, many of you have already seen that one, but what's very exciting to me is that we have commandeered the old Spalding plant, and we're going to make a Nutrilite supplement manufacturing facility. 800,000 square feet. It's underway. It's going to be one of the finest. We're going to really focus there on a lot of our soft gels and things like that. It's going to be one of the most fabulous facilities in the country. That's underway. Meanwhile, around the world, we're going like crazy too. We've got new facilities going up in Vietnam. What are we going showing here now? Where are we? Are we in India now? Okay, there's India. India's underway. We're building a site in India that's going to be almost as big as the Buena Park site. To give you an idea of that, that's how big that's going to be. That's what we think of the potential in India. And are there a few Indians out here? I thought I saw a few walking around. Okay. At any rate, it's going to be big in India. It's going to be big in Vietnam. We have a new plant going up there right now. It's going to be, we already have one plant in Vietnam, and now we have another, but it's going to service all of Southeast Asia. So that's really exciting. We've got new facilities going up in China. And everywhere you look, we're working hard. And our goal is always to try to, grow and make the plants as close as we can to where we're making them. And that's going to be very important in the future as we look into conserving the planet's resources. So lots of things happening in the manufacturing expansion. And I said, again, get it on your list to come for a visit to see these facilities. And bug your management and get your people out to see them, because if we can get people in, it's just fabulous. And to me, an hour presentation today for me is not enough. I like to talk a lot more, so I'm talking faster than I probably should. But I know Francesca would be down there saying, "You're doing okay, Sam. You might make this first pass okay." So with that, I'm going to introduce the next phase of this, and that's another area where we're really focusing on. And I kind of couple the two, but it's basically the resources that we're putting into R&D around the world. And those resources depend really on the people who are working in those labs. So I want to have a couple of our scientists come and talk to you right now. We had Dr. Keith Randolph was, I think, originally planned to be on your schedule. He's a big athlete. He got shoulder surgery, and he's had some complications from that have kept him from being here. So fortunately, we had 2 of our other top scientists working the expo, and we said, "Would you guys fill in and do the stuff that Keith was going to do?" And I think they accepted it with a smile. Anyway, they are going to come up now to give you a little overview on what we're doing in the phytonutrient area and what we're doing in the R&D area, and give you a little look on what's coming in R&D. We've got the greatest, I can tell you, we have the greatest scientific staff that can be put together. And I'll tell you one more thing before I introduce them. I get to meet a lot of the new people coming aboard. And one of the most exciting things to me in my position, 10 years ago, when kids would come through to interview on our intern programs, most of them, the questions they'd ask, "Hey, what's your ladder of success? How fast can I climb up the corporate ladder?" Now they're coming into me, and they're saying, "I really like that. I'm looking for a company I can sink my teeth into. I want to do something that's going to leave the world a better place. I like what you're doing here." It's a total switchy in about 10 years. It's quite amazing. And anyway, these are a couple of examples of the people I think that kind of inspire the young folks to come. And so I'm going to kick it off first with Don Pusateri. 32 years with Nutrilite. He's a terrific scientist, but a great friend, but also a great athlete. He's a mountain climber and a runner and all these kind of things. So he's going to get up here to talk to you a little bit about what's going on in the phytonutrient arena. Don Pusateri.
Wow, what a beautiful and energetic audience. Thank you. Do you like the jacket? You better. Well, I heard Dr. Sam's last comment about climbing the ladder with those people that came on board earlier. And And then also the newer people coming in, which also excites me, is their interest in what we're doing, trying to help other people. I guess I didn't fall into either of those buckets. When I joined Nutrilite, I had one thing in mind. When I saw the laboratories and what they're trying to do, I said, oh boy, I'm going to have a lot of fun. And that's what I'm still doing. 32 years later, I just love what I do. And I'm passionate about the concentrates that go into those products. So, as some of you know, I met many of you over the last couple of days because I participated in the expo as well. And it was, I don't know who really benefited from that. It was such a wonderful experience for me, chatting with so many of you and hearing all of your different experiences and wonderful stories about Nutrilite and just sharing stories about your family. I think I benefited more. So today, this is the part you have to actually listen to, not me listening this time, but we're going to talk more about phytonutrients. I know you've heard it, but we keep hitting that message home and the importance of putting a focus on the diet, something that Carl Renborg shared with people 80 to 100 years ago. That message hasn't stopped. It's an honor and a privilege to be with all of you today to celebrate such an important milestone in Nutrilite's history, our 80th anniversary, 8 decades of doing this amazing job of putting wonderful products together. It all started, we have a wonderful and colorful long history that dates back those 8 decades. It started with Carl Renborg's work 80 years ago, being a pioneer in phytonutrient research. And I could honestly tell you, we've led the charge through those 80 years. Nutrilite is at the top of its game. We're the industry leader in phytonutrient research. It was 80 years ago that we first leveraged the use of phytonutrients and developed that first supplement that Dr. Sam mentioned. And today we figure out new ways, new opportunities to use phytonutrients in our plant concentrates to deliver products that you could use to make your lives better. So where do phytonutrients come from? Well, they're natural compounds that are found naturally in the plants. They come fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts, and teas. They're in many of the culinary herbs that we use today in your various, a lot of it's very regional, but some of those culinary herbs contain wonderful phytonutrients. So what are some of the benefits that those phytonutrients provide? Well, heart health, bone health, joint health, brain health, immune function, also provide us with energy, and the list goes on and on. There's so many different ways that phytonutrients can help us. The phytonutrients also provide those vibrant colors that are found in plants. And that's a neat takeaway message because it's a good way to get variety in your diet by trying to eat a rainbow every day. A simple takeaway message is eat a variety of different plants because that'll provide you with a different variety of phytonutrients. And a variety of different phytonutrients will provide a variety of different health benefits. The World Health Organization came out quite a few years ago and said that the minimum amount of servings of fruits and vegetables that we all need to be consuming is 5 servings a day. Some other reputable organizations are even saying 5 to 9 servings per day. If you just put 5 servings of plants on a plate and look at it, ladies and gentlemen, it is daunting. It's scary. It's a tough thing to do. Let me share a secret with you. I have an advanced degree in nutrition. I have a huge vegetable garden in my backyard in California, and I come from Italian heritage. Hopefully there's a couple Italians in here. and you know, Mediterranean diet, right? Lots of fruits and vegetables. There's so many days, I'm sad to say, that I miss the mark. I don't get in those 5 servings of fruits and vegetables. I also want to share with you some very exciting research that was recently published in a very prestigious British Journal of Nutrition. This research was sponsored and co-authored by people from the Nutrilite Health Institute. And what it did is actually went into markets all around the world, 160 different countries, almost 200,000 people, and it looked at diets. It looked at what quantity people are getting in their diet and variety. And then that's a link to phytonutrients too. What is the results? It's kind of eye-opening, ladies and gentlemen. 60 to 87% of us are not meeting the minimum of getting the 5 servings of fruits and vegetables per day. That's roughly 75% of us aren't getting it done. That's 3 out of every 4 people in this room are not getting enough fruits and vegetables in their diet. What's even more scary is if you're one of those 3 people, the research shows that you would need to double the amount of fruits and vegetables to get to that minimum. So there's many of us here that just not getting it done. As I pointed out, that happens to me a lot too. So what does this point to? Amount and varieties of fruits and vegetables there's an opportunity there where supplementation now could help us fill that gap. This is important, key takeaway message to share with all of your customers. That also from that Global Phytonutrient Report, it also shows even if you go from market to market, of course, you know, depending on which region you're from, Southeast Asia, North America, Africa, people tend to eat a lot of the same foods, a lot of the fruits and vegetables. Usually there's just a handful that they're eating day after day, week after week. So even if you're getting the quantity in your diet, you're not getting that variety that's needed. Remember, focus on that rainbow. Eat a variety. Nutrilite's position for success well into the future. Dr. Sam pointed out a lot of those areas where we're moving forward in. We have 65 research and development laboratories. I work in about 20 of those, I'm happy to say, and that's also where I have a lot of fun. I also work very closely with all of the farms, farm management, and then as well as with universities, because we don't only look at plants that are grown near our farms, but plants from all over the world that we're researching. 4 new and improved facilities in the States. One of those very close to my heart, that's the new extraction concentration plant up in Washington State. I'll be spending a lot of my time there in the future. This will be the home where Nutrilite will be developing and manufacturing all of the concentrates that go into these wonderful products. Investing in technology. This also keeps me at Nutrilite for so long. I really enjoy my work. And so the fact that we keep evolving, we don't make a great product and walk away from it. We're already looking at new ways to make that great product better for that next launch. We're looking at new ways of testing the plants, new farming techniques. The list goes on. And not to mention the quality control that goes in to hundreds of tests just to get one lot of material out the door so you could be assured of safety, consistency, and efficacy of every product, every tablet you're taking. Look at the family of concentrates through the years, you could see when I started, we had about 25 concentrates, part of Nutrilite. Now we have well over 170, and that list will continue to grow as new opportunities, and we find out new information in the health and wellness industry to help provide you products that that you're looking for, that could address your needs. One of those, if it's evolving, is XX. We're very close to moving your next new XX forward. And it's a great project to be working on. Again, we have we'll continue to fill that gap. We'll have plenty of plant concentrates, some that you're familiar with, some new. And I think we've gone one up on providing you antioxidant protection with this new product. Additionally, you'll like the new sensory experience with this. Also, the supplement recommender, many of you are aware of this right now. Now a convenient way for figuring out which supplements you should be taking or your customers should be taking. A nice, convenient way to do that. Incredible. Science-based. Another very important program that I'm happy to talk about is we've had a long-standing relationship with Stanford University, and we're getting ready to embark on a very, very expansive and important research called Wellness Living Laboratory. And this is provided initially through a $10 million gift from Amway Nutrilite, and basically there'll be 1,000 participants. It'll take place in the United States and China. So what's the big takeaway? What is this going to do? This is the first time that we're developing a registry around wellness. Most of the studies out there, as you know, target diseases, chronic diseases, and look at populations that have various problems or issues associated with them. So this is actually going to go in and look at what is it that is making this population healthy? What foods are they eating? How come they're growing older in a healthy way? So what are those things that we could target and phytonutrients that are taking in? So what we could do is now develop better products for you based upon wellness metrics, not disease states. So this is a very, very important research that we're all excited about. So the first leg will take 5 years, but we see this going on for multiple years in other markets, other countries as well. So this is just the start of it. There's wonderful information that could be utilized by all of you from this. It builds credibility, and you'll see some products being delivered from this research. Lastly, I just want to mention our vision to be the clear leader in wellness solutions. I would add to that to be the most trusted leader in wellness solutions. Every time I talk to IBOs, that word trust comes up all the time. It's, I think, so key to our success, that word trust. So with that, I'm ran over time, and my dear colleague is going to hit me over the head if I don't get off the stage. So it is my pleasure and honor to introduce to you one of our top nutrition scientists, Dr. Micheline Vargas.
Yay! At first I want to say congratulations to all of you. I know you've worked so hard, and I know you should be, if you're not, incredibly proud of yourselves to be here. And not only do I want to say congratulations, but I want to say thank you, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you doing your jobs. And I am so thankful, and I am so proud to be part of this organization. I love what I do. I love the history of this company. I love what we stand for. I love our philosophy of optimal health. I love the vision we have of being that global leader in wellness solutions. That resonates with me. I think one of the things that we want to do is try to simplify our messages. Keep something simple and start to inspire. We want people to know why they should change. And then we need to give them some instructions on how they can change. And I think these simple messages drive some of that home. Why supplement? Why phytonutrients? And why Nutrilite? I think why Nutrilite gives us the how to change. So we know as we've gone through these presentations and what you've learned over the years, we know that people are not getting what they need. We know that people are not getting an adequate amounts of fruits and vegetables in their diets. And what does that mean? That means that you're not getting nutrients. And guess what, folks? If you don't get adequate nutrients, it doesn't just cause disease in 10 years, but it drains your energy. You don't function as well throughout the day. You don't sleep well. Your stress level actually increases when you don't eat healthfully. And guess what? It also affects you mentally and emotionally. Your brain is not going to work as well. And again, that affects productivity. That affects your business. We need to eat healthy to keep us vibrant, mentally, physically. We need to supplement to fill in those gaps. And when we fill in those gaps and when we get fruits and vegetables, we get those incredibly important phytonutrients in the diet that so many of us are lacking in. If we aren't getting these plant nutrients, we aren't getting the protection for our immune system to be strong. We aren't getting the protection for our livers to be healthy and help get rid of toxins. Nutrilite gives us those phytonutrients we need. Nutrilite fills in those gaps that we're missing. And just like Dawn spoke to, not always getting what you need, I certainly don't always get what I need. People always ask me, do you supplement? And I say, yes, I supplement. You know why? Because I'm not perfect. And I know that there are days that I am not going to get everything that I need. And you know what? Even those days that I do get probably most things that I need, I still supplement. Because I know that I have certain targets and certain things that I want to prevent in the future. And I know this research behind these products, and I know this research behind these ingredients is going to help me to get to where I want to be. Why Nutrilite? This is the best product. This is the best brand. We deliver from science. We back up everything that we say with science. We have the best farming methods. We get the best plants. We get the best nutrients into our products. And we have the best people to deliver that message one-on-one. We can make a difference with these products and with this brand. And we have tools to help you. We have tools to help your downlines. We know that not everybody coming into this business and into this brand has a background in nutrition or fitness or health. We have tools that can significantly help you in reaching your business goals and your health goals. And if you haven't used the supplement recommender yet, please get on and try it. It is such a valuable tool. I've talked to so many people over the last couple days, and I was really surprised to find out how many people have never used this tool. It's a fantastic tool. It's based on science. It's several questions that are going to guide your customers to products that are going to benefit them. You don't want to just throw out a bunch of stuff at people. We need to deliver to the customer's need. When you fulfill a need, you get a happy customer. When we fulfill more needs in our lives, whether it's dietary, whether it's, talking assertively with people, whatever it is, when we get needs met in our lives, guess what? We have happier, better lives. When you deliver to your customers' needs, you will have a happier customer. They will reap the benefits of that. This tool can help you. This tool not only will guide your customers and you to the best products for you and for them, but it will also help you learn something more about your customers. Part of getting to your customers' needs and giving them what they need is building that relationship. This tool can help you learn so much about your customers. Use it. And the other thing, of course, we've been promoting this week is the new supplement guide. I love this tool. It is a fantastic tool. And I think that your downline IBOs are going to benefit from this, as you will, it has everything in it. It has the philosophy. It has information about the Nutrilite brand. We need to know the brand. We need to know who we are. We need to know who we stand for. And your downlines need to know that information too. If they are going to sell this brand, if they are going to live this brand, this is an optimal guide. It has product information. It has selling tips. It has everything you need to know, and it's right in this tiny little book. It's like 1 million product guides fit into one. It's awesome. So please use this. And take advantage of all the opportunities that this company is providing to help you grow your business. And before I close, I just want to say, please take the opportunity to help people. We really can make a difference in people's lives, and I'm telling you, there is nothing more rewarding than seeing somebody get healthy, seeing the joy come back into somebody's lives. We all have an opportunity to do that, and I just have the vision of what would this world be like if we were all optimally healthy, if we all had balance in our lives. What an awesome place it would be. We can change. And I love the quote by Gandhi, "Be the change you want to see." I live by that. So I want to thank you so much. And I want to reintroduce Dr. Sam for a few more words. Thank you so much.
Are you guys excited? Is Michelin? Okay. I thought so. You know, I've been thinking, we had a very interesting time back in Ada a few weeks back. We're doing a lot of videos and clips that we're going to be making available all over the world. And one of the ones we wanted to do was to have an interview with Steve and Doug and Rich and myself. And so we spent a whole half a day getting this interview. They've got all the footage, and some of they've done a few little clips, but it was the most fun that day, kind of talking about the history and what Rich's concepts were and how he got into the business and all. And it's so true today. And there's one thing we talked about that at Michelin, it's up to us. And the whole concepts behind Amway, they had a big session in Australia many years ago. What's the mission of Amway? Helping people to help themselves, right? Pretty simple, but that's the whole deal. It's helping people take charge of their lives. And that's what Michelin's talking about, what Don's talking about, what all of you guys understand. And how do you do that the most effective way? And that's where Gandhi comes into play. It's being the change. We got the same. That's what I feel when we show people. There's many changes we got to make in the world's agricultural methods. We've decided the best way to help in that arena is to be the change ourselves and how we grow our products and do agriculture. Invite people in to see what we're doing and gradually make a change in that way. Instead of just talking about it, you got to do it and you got to be it. And I think as people realize, we're in the greatest business in the world. And really, to me, it's all about health. That's our greatest is health. And what do you mean by health? Well, obviously, it's the health we've been talking about today, the health of the body and the mind and all those kind of things. But it's also the health of the skin, right? In our things we think about the skin, it's our health of our children, health of our parents, health of the environment that we live in. All those things are part of health. And I always love to tell people it's also part of the health of our pocketbook. Nothing to be ashamed about that. Wealth is the greatest thing. Without wealth, you can't do the things you want to do. You can't help the people you want to help. So wealth is a huge part of that. So you want a healthy bank too. And that's why the business opportunity is so unique and so special, because it all boils down to what the individual wants. It's up to you guys. Take it where you want to take it. And that's what gets me so excited. And when you have money, you're able to do things for other people. So that's the one-by-one program. I love the one-by-one program that you guys are doing around the world. Here you guys do Easter seals, and every country has been charged. The few years back, we said, hey, the only qualification we have is focus on kids, because they're our greatest asset of the future of the kids. So focus on kids, whatever you do. So you're doing Easter seals. They're doing nutrition kitchens in China. They do different things all over the world. It's just fabulous to see what they're doing on the one-by-one program. And then we got to thinking, well, where else can we take that? And out of that came an idea of little bits. And it's the idea of how can we help children in countries that are less fortunate than we are. And maybe there aren't any Amway people there. What can we do? And we said, yeah, we should have a program in those parts of the world as well. Out of that came this concept of little bits, a simple little thing. The U.S. is just getting into it, and we're just kind of talking about it now. We did a clinical study. We made this very simple little powder, which is made of essential vitamins and minerals and a couple phytonutrients. That's added to kids' porridge and milk that they, or whatever they eat in the morning. They can do really good for kids' health. Because this research, and the research behind this was very interesting. It's just come out in the last couple of years that shows that if children, if they get adequate nutrition through the age of 6, they can pursue their individual potentials, whatever it might be. But if they don't have adequate nutrition through the age of 6, it's too late. That's really sad to think about, isn't it? So the program is focused on little kids, the kids, to make sure we get them nourished and get them off to the right spot, because they are our future. And so I'm very excited about that. But all those things come into health and being the change, and you guys taking this business as to wherever you want. And that's what gets me excited, is to see people really thinking about what they want to do and where they want to take this business. And I just would urge you in a convention like this to take some quiet moments and set your sights. Where are you taking your business next? Sometimes we talk about our overall success, being number one in this and being number one. That's really insignificant. It's really what you guys want to do and where you want to take your individual businesses. Because that'll drive us to gosh knows what heights. My dad, what did he say? Way back then, every person on the planet was a potential customer. You've seen from the research of today, he was right. Every person would benefit by double X, wouldn't they? So what a challenge we have out there to carry that message forward. So I guess, my father, we says we're all connected. And it's led us into other avenues besides just human nutrition, but the health of our planet, the health of the environment, all the things that are so essential to us. And we play a role in affecting change here. And it gets back to what Michelin said, you got to be the change. So the most powerful thing that we can be, and you hear us say it all the time, is you got to be the product of the product, right? Product of the product. I can tell you one final story, and then I'm going to hang up, but I was in Trout Lake recently. We had 256 emerging leaders from Hong Kong, little itty bitty city state out there in the middle of nowhere, good Amway market. 256 of emerging leaders. And about the time we had these, we were looking at whether Body Key might go in Hong Kong. And so I was curious as to what kind of problems they had in Hong Kong and how they would compare to the problems we have in Los Angeles. Very similar cities. They're big, huge cities. They're polluted. Got junk food restaurants on every corner. Very stressed. Everybody's stressed and running around like a maniac. If you've ever been in the two cities, you'll note immediately how similar they are. So I was wondering if they'd have a problem, because you look in the city of Los Angeles, we got 70% of the population is overweight. So I said, is that going to happen in Hong Kong? And so I decided, well, I'm going to do a little study. I got 256 Hong Kong ABOs there. I wonder how many people there are a little bit overweight. So I did this little check deal while I was handing out the diplomas. You want to know how many overweight people we had? Anybody want to guess? Percent? 2, I heard 2. None. And I said, what am I missing here? And I went to Angela Kuhn, who's the sales manager over that area. I said, Angela, what am I missing? I gave her all my logic on how LA and Hong Kong were the same. And she looked at me and she said, like I'd asked the dumbest question that it was ever asked. And she said, well, first of all, you did make one mistake. She said, Hong Kong, you really shouldn't compare that to LA. Hong Kong's much more difficult than Los Angeles. It's really tough to make a buck in Hong Kong. If any of you have been to Hong Kong, everybody's an entrepreneur over there. Everybody's got something to sell. If you want a shirt made, you can get it done in about 20 minutes. I mean, everybody's out there to do something. You got to really be good. And she said, you see these 256 people that are here in Trout Lake? She said, every one of them are products of the product. She said they wouldn't be able to sell a single unit of Nutrilite, not a single unit, unless they looked like a product of the product. She said, very simple. There's millions of things in the marketplace that people would go to. So people gotta look like the product. She said they wouldn't buy a single unit of artistry unless they look, all people really looking good and sharp. they wouldn't sell a single unit of artistry unless they look like artistry. And she said, finally, she said, they wouldn't be able to recruit a single person. Everybody over here is an entrepreneur unless that person really looks like they're successful and full of energy and enthusiasm. So see, they're all products of the product. And I thought, wow, that's what it's all about. And everywhere on this trip, so 20 countries, and everywhere I get that message, that's probably the most powerful thing we can do as a group. We got a lot of the guides and all that stuff's terrific. But as my father said way back in the very beginning, he said, Sam, he said, people aren't going to buy the product because of all the words you're going to use. He said, I know a lot of words, and I've written a lot of stuff. But Alma Stewart over here, she sells more product than I do. How come? They buy it because of the sparkle in her eye. They've seen this change in her, and she's a product of the product. He says, it's just that simple. Don't ever forget that. And that's why people buy the product. That's why they come into this opportunity. They see a place that's having fun and growing, enthusiasm and excitement. They want to be a part of that, and off we go to the races. So if I could leave you with any one thing, it's be the product of the product. And the rest will take care of itself. And to assure you that you got behind us a lot of Michelins and Pusateris and a lot of scientists and a lot of people who are dedicating their lives. Make sure you got the finest products in the world. We want to be the best forever. And we're doing everything we can to stay out in front of what I see as a gigantic tidal swell of opportunity and interest in what we're doing. Chronic healthcare costs are out of control around the world. We got the answer to that. People are looking for their own businesses. Tough economic times. If you're in business for yourself, you can make a go of it. So there's a lot of interest in everything that we do. So I celebrate everything that you've done in North America, and I just love the diversity of our population here and what you're doing in this marketplace. And I wish you the greatest success in the future, and put on a bucket list to come see us, get your groups out to see us. We've got a wonderful Center for Optimal Health, and you put that on your list, and that's a must, so you can see what we're doing to be the products of the product at the front lines. So thank you very much, and have a great rest of your time here.